"You don't belong here, old man." The words cut through third-wave coffee like a blade. Frank Morrison sat quietly at his corner table, weathered hands wrapped around a half-empty coffee cup, trying to make it last. The young manager towered over him, voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "This is a place for paying customers, not charity cases." Duke University students laughed. A Research Triangle Park businessman smirked. Someone whispered, "Typical homeless vet." Frank didn't defend himself, didn't mention the Purple Heart in his pocket or the Vietnam shrapnel still lodged near his spine. He just stood up, placed exact change on the table, and limped toward the door. But as his sleeve pulled back, a young lieutenant from Fort Bragg glimpsed something that made his blood freeze. A tattoo that belonged to legends, to men who weren't supposed to exist. And in that moment, he realized they hadn't just humiliated an old man. They'd just disrespected a ghost. Hey, welcome to Silent Courage Stories. Before we jump into this powerful story about respect, justice, and hidden heroes, drop a comment and tell us what city you're watching from. And hey, if you think stories like this should never be forgotten, hit that subscribe button and help us keep their memory alive. Frank Morrison lived quietly in Durham, North Carolina. Every Thursday, he visited Third Wave Coffee near Duke University campus. Same time, same corner table, same order. Grand black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Nobody knew him. He knew nobody. At 72, living on VA disability, he was just another silent figure in a college town. His face was weathered by Carolina sun, hands mapped with old scars and calluses. His left leg carried a slight limp, a gift from the Mekong Delta, 1969. He wore an old Army field jacket, once olive drab, now faded to an uncertain color by time and washing. Underneath, a plain gray t-shirt, faded Wrangler jeans, and the same Red Wing work boots he'd worn for a decade. This cold December morning followed his usual routine. As he pushed through the glass door, nobody greeted him. When he ordered, nobody smiled. Even taking his change, the barista's fingers carefully avoided touching his. Frank noticed, but said nothing. He took his corner table, sipped his coffee, and watched Main Street through the window. The coffee was hot, the air was cold. Duke students stressed about finals. All Frank wanted was 2 hours of peaceful silence. Tyler Brennan was 26, a UNC Chapel Hill business grad whose father owned a law firm in Charlotte. He'd been managing this trendy coffee shop near Duke campus for 3 months, thanks to Daddy's connections. He fancied himself an expert in customer experience optimization and demographic targeting. When Tyler first spotted Frank, he'd categorized him immediately. Old, working class, probably veteran, definitely not target demographic. Duke students and Research Triangle Park tech workers were his real customers. This type damaged the brand image in Tyler's eyes. This cold Thursday morning, Tyler noticed Frank watching the Duke students studying with their laptops at nearby tables. In his mind, Tyler constructed a scenario. The old man was watching the young people, possibly making them uncomfortable, maybe being paranoid. It was the perfect excuse. Playing with coffee beans from a mason jar, Tyler approached Frank's table. "Excuse me, sir. This is kind of a workspace environment. We generally expect customers to have laptops or be here for meetings." Frank looked up. His eyes recognized the Charlotte accent, understanding this young man carried the casual confidence of Charlotte money. "I paid for my coffee," he said quietly, no southern drawl in his voice. "Yeah, but see, this is like a co-working space. For students and professionals, you might be more comfortable at the Waffle House down on 15501. Conversation slowed throughout the cafe. Eyes shifted from MacBooks to watch them. Tyler raised his voice loud enough to carry across campus. "Look, sir, I'm going to be straight with you. You don't really fit our customer demographic here." Frank's response was the same. Disciplined silence. But this was different silence. The kind that carried Delta Force training, patience learned on the Cambodian border, the peace of a man who danced with death. A Duke pre-med student snorted. Finally someone said it. His economics major girlfriend. These homeless vets always think they deserve special treatment. A software developer from Research Triangle Park working on his laptop. About time. This isn't a homeless shelter. Tyler was enjoying his power trip. "Sir, I'm asking you to leave. This is private property, and you're making other customers uncomfortable." That's when Frank stood up. Slowly, with deliberate movement, he pulled out his worn leather wallet, calculated exact change, and placed it on the table. This time he left no tip, breaking a 40-year streak. Walking toward the door, he felt the stares of Chapel Hill liberalism and Duke privilege. Amusing, pathetic, unwanted. As he gripped the door handle, he heard Tyler's voice behind him. "And don't come back." Organic fair trade laughter rose from the crowd. Lieutenant Marcus Webb sat in the corner booth. 28 years old, on leave from the 82nd Airborne, wearing civilian clothes. He was reading after-action reports on his iPad while keeping peripheral watch on the unfolding situation. Marcus was a Minnesota farm boy who'd learned respect in his family's dairy barn. Watching this old man's humiliation made his stomach turn. It was wrong on every level, but he didn't interfere. Not his responsibility, not his business. Until Frank stood up and his jacket sleeve rode up. Marcus glimpsed something on Frank's left forearm. His heart rate spiked. He leaned forward, trying to get a better look. He thought he saw what he thought he saw, but couldn't be sure. Too faded, too distant. As Frank limped toward the door, Marcus stood up and followed him outside. "Sir, excuse me." Frank stopped and turned around. Before him stood a young man whose military bearing was unmistakable even in jeans and Patagonia fleece. "Yes?" Marcus hesitated. "Sir, I couldn't help but notice your arm, that tattoo." Frank's eyes narrowed. Dangerous stillness. "What about it? Is that from 5th Special Forces Group?" Time stopped on Main Street. Frank sized up Marcus from head to toe. Posture, eye contact, speech patterns. Then, slowly, maybe, Marcus's breath caught. "Sir, would you mind showing me?" Frank stood among Duke students and Prius drivers, December wind cutting through his field jacket. He looked around. Nobody was paying attention to two men on the sidewalk. Slowly, he rolled up his sleeve. When Marcus saw it, his legs nearly buckled. Faded, decades old but unmistakable. Green beret, crossed arrows, Dio Presso Liber scroll. But most important, underneath in small block letters, MACV-SOG, 1969 to 1971. Marcus's mouth went dry. MACV-SOG, Military Assistance Command Vietnam, Studies and Observations Group, the most classified operations of the Vietnam War. Cambodia, Laos, officially never existed. "Holy shit," he whispered. Frank rolled his sleeve down. "Watch your language, soldier." "Sir, my grandfather served with the 1st Cavalry. He told me stories about SOG, said you guys were—" "We were nothing," Frank cut him off sharply. "Still are nothing. Roger that?" Marcus nodded rapidly, but his mind was racing. This man had just been humiliated in a coffee shop. A Vietnam War legend. A SOG operative. "Sir, what happened in there?" "That ain't right." Frank shrugged. "Son, I've seen worse than Charlotte rich boys." "But sir, you shouldn't have to. Not here. Not anymore." Frank studied him quietly. Then, "What's your name, soldier?" "Lieutenant Marcus Webb, sir. 82nd Airborne Division, Fort Bragg." "Well, Lieutenant Webb, sometimes the war follows you home. Sometimes the people you fought for forget why you fought." Marcus felt something break in his chest. He made a decision. After Frank left, Marcus went straight to his Jeep and pulled out his cell phone. His first call was to his commander at Fort Bragg, Colonel David Harrison. "Sir, this is Lieutenant Webb. I need to speak with you about something urgent." "Go ahead, Marcus." "Sir, I just encountered a Vietnam veteran, MACV-SOG, and he was just publicly humiliated at a coffee shop near Duke." A pause. Then, "SOG? You certain about that?" "Saw the tattoo, sir. The real deal, with operation dates." Jesus Christ, what happened? Marcus told the whole story. The coffee shop, Tyler, the humiliation, the laughter. Colonel Harrison's voice hardened. "Give me that establishment's address. Now." "Sir, what are you planning?" "What I should have done years ago. Remind people what respect looks like." His second call went to Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Mitchell, retired Special Operations, now working Pentagon Civil Military Relations. "Sarah, it's Dave Harrison. I need a favor." "Shoot." "MACV-SOG veteran, publicly disrespected. I want to send a message." "How loud a message?" "Loud enough for local news, quiet enough to stay professional." "I'm listening." The third call went to Command Sergeant Major Robert Stone, a 30-year veteran currently running the NCO Academy at Bragg. "Sergeant Major, how many instructors you got free this afternoon?" "All of them, sir." "Why?" "We're paying respects to an elder. Dress blues, full military courtesy." "How many you need?" "Every last one." Within 2 hours, the Fort Bragg war machine sprang into action, but not for combat, for honor. Colonel Harrison, Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell, CSM Stone, and an additional 12 officers and senior NCOs donned their dress blue uniforms, ribbons, badges, jump wings, ranger tabs, every detail perfect. 3 military vehicles were prepared, American flags full protocol. "Gentlemen," Colonel Harrison gave the briefing, "today we honor a veteran, quietly, professionally, but memorably. No threats, no intimidation, just respect." CSM Stone added, "If this man served SOG, God knows what he saw. Now he's getting disrespected buying coffee in his own country. Today we fix that." At exactly 1500 hours, 3 military vehicles pulled up outside Third Wave Coffee. Perfect formation, perfect discipline. Inside, Tyler was continuing his normal afternoon routine. He still felt proud about ejecting Frank. It had been a good customer curation move. The door chime rang. Tyler looked up and froze solid. Through the glass door entered Colonel Harrison. Full-dress blues, chest covered with ribbons, eagles on his shoulders. Behind him came Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell. Then CSM Stone. Then 12 more soldiers. The coffee shop fell silent instantly. Tyler's mouth hung open. Can I help you?" Colonel Harrison approached the counter. Calm, authoritative, non-threatening. "I'm looking for the manager." That's me, sir." "Son, I'm Colonel David Harrison, United States Army. 2 hours ago you ejected a customer from this establishment." Tyler's throat constricted. "There might have been some misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding," Colonel Harrison continued. "You told a Vietnam veteran he didn't belong here. You humiliated a man who served in classified operations to defend the freedoms you exercise daily. Every Duke student, every laptop warrior, every research triangle professional was listening." CSM Stone stepped forward. "That man you threw out, he's done things that'll never be in history books, been to places that don't exist on official maps. Men like him are the reason you can sit in a coffee shop complaining about Wi-Fi speed." Tyler was shaking now. "I didn't know. He looked like what?" Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell interjected. "Like someone who's seen too much, given too much, come home carrying things you'll never understand." Colonel Harrison continued, "Son, I'm not here to punish you. I'm here to educate you." From behind them, Lieutenant Webb emerged. Tyler recognized him as the corner booth customer. "This is Lieutenant Webb," Harrison said. "He witnessed what happened. He made the phone call." Marcus stepped forward. "That man you humiliated has sacrificed more for this country than everyone in this room combined, and you treated him like trash." Tyler was near tears now. "I'm sorry, I really didn't know." "That's exactly the problem," CSM Stone said in a stern tone. "You didn't ask, didn't care, just judged." Colonel Harrison pulled out a business card. "This is local VA contact information. Start learning about the people you serve. Start understanding what sacrifice looks like." Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell added, "We're not asking for free coffee handouts. We're asking for basic human respect." Tyler took the card, noticing his hands were trembling. What should I do?" CSM Stone smiled. "Start with an apology. To him, face to face. But I don't know where he lives." "We do," Marcus said. "Every Thursday, 1,000 hours corner table. Next Thursday, you'll be waiting with his coffee. No charge. And you'll apologize like a man." Colonel Harrison addressed the entire coffee shop. "Ladies and gentlemen, remember something. Freedom isn't free. The comfort you enjoy, the safety you feel, the rights you exercise, They were purchased with the blood and sacrifice of men and women in uniform. Some came home, some didn't. All deserve your respect. CSM Stone added, when you see an older person struggling, maybe rough around the edges, think twice before judging. You might be looking at a hero. As Colonel Harrison turned to leave, he dropped the final bomb. By the way, son, that man you ejected, his name is Frank Morrison. Staff Sergeant Frank Morrison. Bronze Star, 2 Purple Hearts, Silver Star. He spent 3 years in the jungle, saving the lives of soldiers who never made it home. Today, you made him feel worthless. Tyler collapsed. He literally collapsed into a chair, head in his hands. As the soldiers filed out, every customer remained silent. No laughter, no smug superiority. But the story wasn't over. The following Thursday morning at 09:45 hours, Tyler waited at Third Wave Coffee. In his hands was a freshly brewed grande black coffee, paid for from Tyler's personal money. At 10:00 hours sharp, Frank entered. Same field jacket, same limp, same quiet dignity. Tyler stood up. Mr. Morrison? Frank stopped, surprised. Sir, I'm Tyler Brennan, the manager who asked you to leave last week. Frank's expression remained unchanged. I remember. Sir, I brought your coffee, and I wanted to apologize. I was wrong, completely wrong. Frank accepted the coffee and studied Tyler. You learned something, son? Yes, sir. I learned I should never judge someone without knowing their story. Frank smiled, for the first time. Good lesson. He moved to the corner table. Tyler followed. Mr. Morrison, would it be okay if I learned more about your story? Not to bother you, just to understand better? Frank sipped his coffee and thought, son, some stories are better left buried, but maybe it's time someone remembered. 6 months later, Third Wave Coffee's wall displayed a small bronze plaque, dedicated to all veterans who served with honor and returned home. Different, you are seen, you are valued, you belong here. Every Thursday morning at 10:00 hours, Frank Morrison sat at the corner table drinking his coffee. Not free, Tyler never accepted his money anymore, but Frank insisted. Not charity, he'd say. Respect. Tyler was transformed after that day. He saw customers differently. Third Wave Coffee became a different place, a safe harbor for veterans, a place where respect lived. Because sometimes all we need is someone to see us, understand us, value us. And sometimes we need reminding. Heroes walk among us. We just need to take time to recognize them. Frank Morrison never said it, but Tyler knew. Those Thursday morning coffee hours were the highlight of Frank's week, and that made everything worthwhile. Duke students learned to nod respectfully when Frank entered. Research Triangle professionals held doors. Even Charlotte business types showed courtesy. Word spread through Durham's veteran community. Third Wave Coffee became a gathering place, a safe space, a place where service was honored, not ignored. Tyler started a Coffee with Veterans program. Every Saturday morning, free coffee for vets, a chance to share stories, connect with community. Frank Morrison never talked about Cambodia, never mentioned classified operations, never sought the spotlight. But every Thursday at 10:00 hours at that corner table, he reminded Durham what quiet dignity looked like. And every Thursday, Tyler learned a little more about honor.